برای مهسا، برای پویا، برای مصطفی، برای نیلوفر، برای سپیده، برای نرگس، برای مریم، برای مراد، برای سیامک، برای چشمان زیبای ریرا، برای پریسا، برای مادرم، برای دخترم گیسو، برای زهرا، برای کسرا، برای ترس سلول انفرادی، برای ترس هایی که از واقعیت بزرگترند، برای زنان سرزمینم، برای آزادی، برای عدالت.
It was very emotional, I'm sorry. It is an honor to be here today. I never thought in a million years that I would see this day. For those of you who might not know me, my name is Nazanin. I was a hostage in Iran for 6 years. And I spent all those years in solitary confinement in prison, under house arrest, and then banned to leave the country. All the time that I was kept away from my child, who at the time was 22 months old. Iran and the UK were squabbling and struggling over a political dispute that had nothing to do with me. I was stuck in Iran when I went on holiday, and my daughter, as a very, very young child, her basic rights were taken away from her. And as I was thinking that my pain was very big, and what I went through was really massive, what made my story even more sad was I was not alone. So I was moved to the general ward in Evin prison on the Christmas day of 2016, which was ironically my birthday. And there I was welcomed with really amazing women, some of whom, I'm very emotional. Let's all of us cry together. Some of whom they were carrying even bigger pains than I was. So I was welcomed by Nargis at the time, she was the person in charge of the ward, so anybody coming to the ward as a newcomer, she would be welcoming them. And all these women, they had their stories, but you wouldn't be able to tell what they have gone through unless they told you. So all of us here, we have got our own story, but we don't know unless we tell each other. And these women, they have been kept away from their kids for many, many years. So I met Mariam, who at the time was in prison for 9 years, and she was kept away from her child, Sarah, who was at the time 12. But when Mariam was arrested, she was only 3. Then Nargis from her twins, Zahra, Fatima. We had Fariba and Mahvash, who were in prison for 9 years by the time I met them, and it was just cruel. But at the same time, they had so much kindness and love to accept me and to make me feel like I was not on my own anymore, and we were just carrying this pain, all of us together. So the tenacity of these women and their inspiration and their power just blew me. Just to give you an idea about how life in the ward was, we did lots of things together, and the solidarity in the only political female ward in Evin is just magnificent. Regardless of what the ideology is, what religion, so we had Christians, we had dervishes, we had Bahais, we had Marxists, we had, I mean, you name it, we had like a collection, we had like human rights lawyers, we had like civil activists, we had from across the world, different countries, but also different professions. We had like a gynecologist in the board, we had like any sort of powerful woman you can never imagine in your life. They were all gathered together in one place. So we cooked together, we ate together, we danced together, we cried together. We gave each other so much love and passion and energy, and it was just strong and powerful. But I think that is what made everybody and all of us feel like we were part of one community, that we had put whatever we had, whether we have been successful, rich, whatever, behind. We were just in one single line, and we were all zero, and we were all the same. One of the main things in prison that people struggle to pass is the time. We made a lot of effort to create ways to make the best of the time we had. And you know, in the political world, you want to be intellectual, you want to be creative. It's very different from the general ward, as I have been, because I was initially moved to Kerman prison for about 2 months, which is the one of the most, I would say, one of the roughest prisons in Iran, because women are arrested for using drugs and selling drugs. So it is very different from the political board. So one of the things that we made an effort to do was to pass the time in the best possible way. And for women who are, in my opinion, symbol of creation, whether it's producing a child to creating a family and producing hope, we were just basically giving each other power for resistance and the power to change and the power to create. So we did not have much stuff in prison, so I just want to add a little bit to what Halijan said about objects. So what you see as an object, it might be like a vase or a bag or like a key ring, but there's a lot of story behind it. In every stitch, every cut, every brush, every touch of the brush, every paint, every line, there's a story, there is pain, there is hope, there is power, there is frustration, there is fear, there is determination, there is anticipation, there is inspiration, there is a lot behind every single thing which you don't see. So at the end of the day, it's not just an object, it's just a story behind the object. So what I saw upstairs was stories of people around. And of course, I know many of them. Some of them have had the names, but many of them I was actually there when we were making those stuff. But it wasn't easy to make those things because it wasn't like we were going to the shop and buy them. So it was very hard to bring stuff into prison. It was very hard to buy them. We had like a mini shop in the ward, and it was not easy to order things. And we had to go through different loops of ordering things for the leather to come in, for the wool to come in, for the fabric and everything. And quite often we were, the people who were in prison before us, they would leave things behind. So I once knitted a little dress for my daughter that I called it like freedom, something like a cardigan. But it was like little pieces of wool. That's Farah was amazing in knitting. And she had left all little teeny tiny bits of wool and when she was released. So it was all about recycling. It was all about making sure we do not throw anything away, from plastic pots to wool to pieces of fabric. So we would have like a bed linen cut into a curtain, then upcycled to be a pillowcase, and then to be like a cloth to clean, and then eventually just throw away. So what I want to emphasize is every single thing which you see is made upstairs. There has been a lot of effort put into it, and it didn't come easy to make those, because it was very, very difficult to get things inside prison. I have been in prison with some of these women. Some of them have been released, some of them have been sent back to prison. So Nargis is back to prison again. The Bahais, I know Farah and Mahsa are back to prison again. Hopefully they will be coming out. But the stories of these women will just carry on. And I think I personally would never feel free completely until all my friends come out of prison and they're all released. But also I wanted to mention something about the power of being a woman. Women by nature are powerful, but I think it takes a lot of, like a different level of courage to be a woman in Iran. And women at the moment, they're making history. They're creating history by their very existence, by just being present in the street and not just doing anything, just being present there. And what we are seeing at the moment is, with the generational change and the transformation of how the young generation is coming up, I wanted to mention that they think by cutting the legs of women, they will stop them from running. But these women will then go ahead and give birth to babies that have wings to fly. Thank you.
We Baha'is are deeply concerned with the situation of the Baha'is in Iran today. The women who have been suffering so deeply for so long. The streets of Iran are now flooded with the sorrow of Mahsa Amini's death and the deaths and imprisonments of so many young women and youth. Mahfaj and Fariba are among the 5 Baha'is who have their art exhibited here upstairs today, who spent a decade in Evin prison and who have been rearrested this summer just because of their religion. We strive every day in our hearts, in our prayers, and above all in our deeds, to work towards a transformation of our society, a transformation that will have to start in our hearts, and a transformation that will have to start with our children, the children who are our future leaders. A transformation not just of the women in our society, but of the men as well. Abdul Baha, the son of Baha'u'llah, the prophet founder of the Bahai faith, said, "The world of humanity has 2 wings. One is women and the other is men. Not until both wings are equally developed can the bird fly. Until we achieve full equality, we cannot achieve real peace in the world, and we cannot even start to fly." Youth are out now on the streets in Iran, demanding equal treatment, freedom, and justice for everyone. They risk their lives for these ideals. And it is with great compassion, with solidarity and love, that we thank them for their incredible courage and perseverance. Thank you.
So, good evening, everybody. My name is Farah Karimi. I am also an Iranian Dutch woman, and it is really a great pleasure to be here and a great honor. And I wanted actually to start by saluting you, Mansoura, for again bringing such a beautiful community together, organizing this wonderful exhibition. I know how precious they are for you. And after actually listening to the story of Nazanin, and thank you very much for sharing that with us, I have to say they are in a very, very good hands. And Mansoura takes care of them, and they are very precious to her. And she really, really tries everything so that as many as possible people can see it and also hear the stories. So thank you very much, Mahsa, for doing that. Thank you. So, and I talked to Inge, so why are you actually leaving us? Because I wanted also to congratulate you as the director of ISS. Then she said, okay, congratulate me now. I did it. And that's very important. This place, actually, to be here at this place is also very, very important. ISS has a very long history. I mean, 70 years after the Second World War. The Netherlands tried to create a kind of international culture and policies. And ISS is one of the really very important places. I have been traveling to many countries and in many places. You talk to ministers or the high-level positioned people, and they are an alumni of ISS. So ISS has a huge network, and I would like really to say to young students of ISS, so that's fantastic, I guess, to be part of that community, and I think it's also very important for Iranians at this moment, where they are in need of huge international solidarity, that we are here at ISS, because we count on the solidarity of everybody on the world, and that's very important. So, I really wanted actually to share with you, after listening to all these stories this afternoon, evening, one thing, if I may, to say that I have one message for you. Hale beautifully actually explained what is going on in Iran. And this is part of what we see. There is a lot more going on, what we are not seeing. 2 days ago, my own niece called me and told me that she was on the street, just walking on the street. She had her scarf not really on her head, and she was attacked by 3 men. And they beat her and treated in a very awful way, till the people came and really rescued her from their hands. And her message was, so the regime in Iran is creating a sphere that everybody is just scared. The fear, scared of going on the street, scared just to leave your house, home, go out. They want that everybody's back at home, especially the women, and they are really creating a huge oppression, and through that oppression, actually fear for the people. And I mean, it's really heartbreaking to listen to these stories that come to us from our family members, friends, and people that we know, but also watch all those videos and see how courageous, despite this oppression, how courageous the young people are, how courageous the people of Iran in every actually corner of Iran are. It is not only the streets of Tehran, it's not only the streets of big cities, it's not only at the center of the country. No, it is really everywhere. And Mahsa Amini, she was a woman, she was young, she actually belonged to Kurdish people. She was not from a big city. She was a periphery from Cyprus, a border city. So she really represented all minorities who have been suffering during this 4 decades of Islamic Republic in Iran. And those people, they need our solidarity. So that's what we can do from here. And they are on the streets. They are doing what they are doing, very courageous, very bravely. But are we doing also what we should do? We are resourceful. We are powerful. We are our voices. We have our resources. We have our networks. We have our connections. I am a politician, so I have my connection in politics. Hannah is a really very much valued member of academic world in the Netherlands. So she has her connection. But every one of us has that. And we really need each other. And that's actually my plea. Please, let's do it this time in a right way. So let's connect to each other. Let's think about our possibilities. They are creative. We could be too. We are enjoying the liberty. We are enjoying the freedom. So we should be. We should be able to be really resourceful and be of support to this very, very important movement which is going on. And let me say one thing. If in Iran, if the situation changes and the country becomes really a democratic country, it is a game changer for the whole Middle East, believe me. This is much bigger than only Iran. It is really much bigger than Iran itself. It is, I mean, this movement of women is inspiring worldwide the people, but especially in the Middle East. It is very, very important. So, my dear friends, please stay with us, with the people in Iran, and let's try to really make this a victory for all the oppressed people in the world, but especially at this moment, very important for women in Iran. Today, maybe some of you know, but most of you don't know, we are missing one person. She should have been here, and she's not here. Mehrab Khandan. You saw her mother here, Nazanin Zaghari. She talked to us. And Mehrab, she was supposed to come here and stay here. And we were hoping that she could also have a performance here. Unfortunately, 4th of October, Mansoura, was the day that Mansoura and many other people were waiting for her to come, to arrive. And the day that she went actually to the airport, she was banned from traveling. She was not allowed to leave the country. A 22 years old, young, very talented woman, and she was not allowed to leave the country. And her mother, Nazanin Zaghari, sent a message. And I would like to share that message with you. She sent this message 2 days after that happened. 48 hours ago, when my daughter Mehraba was going to Holland to continue her studies, she was stopped from leaving at the airport by the intervention of 2 police agents, and they said that she was not allowed to leave. Since she was 12 years old, she has been banned from going out 3 times for the crime of being my daughter. I will definitely not be silent in the face of such an injustice. I know the conditions of women in my country very well. In a situation where Mahsa Amini or a 15-year-old Baluchi girl from Iran or Karlijn are facing such atrocities, it is difficult for me to talk about Mehraba being banned from traveling. But I am both her mother and her lawyer. Each of us has the right to talk about our wounds. These words are not in any way to ignore the other wounds of our country, but at every step, oppression must be expressed and the various forms of this injustice must be condemned. This is the crime of a girl named Mehraba, who is the daughter of Nazanin Zaghari, and Nazanin Zaghari's crime is defending the girls of Engelab Street. This is Nazanin's message, and I hope Nazanin and thousands and millions of Iranian women can count on you. Thank you very much.
I'd like to thank you in the name of ISS, all our guests, everybody who joined us today. Inge had to unfortunately leave early, so it's up to me to say some concluding remarks. But first and foremost, I would like to thank Mahsa Amini for putting all of this together. Mahsa has a way of making people work for her. She's like a butterfly, and she smiles, and she gets everybody going, and that's a force. You're a force of nature, and I've seen many forces of nature here, and it's been quite an experience to be part of the organization here. I'd also like to thank Sandy for putting up this beautiful exhibit upstairs. The exhibition will be here for another 2 weeks, I think. So tell your family and friends to come over and visit. The building is usually open until 10 in the evening, and we invite everybody to go and see the exhibition. So thank you all for coming. And oh, I have to thank all the volunteers. I can't name all of them. All the volunteers are here. There are lots of people who've been part of this. And there's some of whom I've just met today. Ali behind the camera there. Hi, Ali. And so by applauding for Ali, you've been applauding for all the volunteers. So thank you so much for putting all this together. It's been a joint effort, and it's been a great honor also to be part of it. Thank you so much.